Well, good morning, West Coast, and good afternoon to the East, and good day to the Central. It's nice to have you with us here today. My name is Brad Etheridge, and I am Chief Marketing Officer for the Center for Tax Strategies and Resources. I see Shelley sitting there. Hi, Shelley. I'll tell you a little bit more about Shelley and our main speaker here today in a minute, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about the center. For those of you that haven't been on our webinars, we are an educational organization. We're not a broker dealer, we're not an IMO, we don't care where you place your business. But what we do quite exceptionally is we work with advisors to train them on better ideas and concepts, mentoring them to make them better at their desired profession. We collaborate. We'll work with different experts as well as our members to provide better solutions for those of you that do such a fine job in financial services with your clients. And I'd say probably one of the biggest things, we provide major access to resources, two of which you're going to hear about today with Joe Strazzeri and Shelley Lightfoot, and I'll give you a little bit more bio on them in just a moment. But we add these folks and we create this center organization that really allows independent advisors to be independent without being alone. We also are what we like to refer to as a multiplier for your practice. So folks that you otherwise wouldn't have access to, you do through the center when you join our organization. We'll talk a little bit more about what's involved in that as we get a little bit later into the program. But all of a sudden, you become larger than you were by yourself. So access to the top folks in the industry, subject matter experts. I will go through a little bit with you and kind of let you know what that looks like as we talk about our faculty that we have for the organization. So we build teams using these resources. Now, one of the questions that comes up is, why did Simon Singer found this organization? Simon's not with us today because he had a super appointment that he had to take care of, and we kind of knew that was coming. So I asked him if I would be willing to take the reins and handle this today. But Simon founded the organization, or the Center for Tax Strategies and Resources, because there wasn't really anything like that in the industry. If you look back years and years and years ago, some of you may have been captive agents or worked in a large agency where you had home office experts come in and provide training and education. Those things just don't exist. All of a sudden, folks became independent, usually got a better payout as a result of it. But at the end of the day, it was very difficult because you didn't have somebody else to lean on in regards to how the practice is structured and what kind of tools you can bring to your clients. Hi, Joe. So
good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
The extra piece is in the room.
Yes. Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and I'm not formally introducing you yet, but give me 1 minute, we will, because I'm so happy to have you here, Joe. Thanks.
Oh, sure. You're talking about the sexy guy on the screen.
I am talking about Mr. Sexy himself, Simon Singer, and who apologizes he wasn't able to make this today, but he's with us in spirit. So he founded the center primarily to provide a place for advisors to be able to increase their skill set. And Simon knew a lot of super people in the industry, and as the center grew, we were able to attract those folks to our faculty. Joe and Shelley are two of those folks, and once we get through the program today, I'm sure you'll see why we're so excited to have them as part of our team, and can create great advantages for you personally. Okay, go ahead, Todd, with the next one. If you want to learn more about sales process, plus alliances, plus tax laws and strategies, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this about halfway through the program today with Joe, but it's our virtual academy, which will be held June 14th through 16th. It's 3 days, it's 8 hours a day. It's unbelievable information. I think we have 17 speakers coming in for this academy coming up. We'll go through pricing with you and all that. I will tell you this, if you join us for the academy, if you become a member of our organization or not, you'll get plenty of ideas and concepts that you can substantially increase your practice income moving forward. So again, we'll get into that in just a minute, but I want to tell you a little bit about Joe. I'll start with Joe, and then Shelley is really easy because she is involved in every single aspect of what I'm about to cover. So she is the neck to Joe being the head, and she's an absolute delight and super smart to have. So thank you for joining us too, Shelley. It's a pleasure.
Thanks,
Little bit about Joe. Joe has a really unique perspective because unlike a lot of tax attorneys, of which he is an extraordinary tax attorney, he brought some real world expertise to his practice. Joe was a land developer, business owner, that real world expertise in regards to how businesses actually operate. You can certainly tell when we consult with one of our high net worth clients and you watch Joe kind of jump into gear, He's not talking about being erudite or book learned, which he certainly is. He's talking about experiences, blood on the street that he experienced himself, and he takes that information and turns it into practical knowledge and provides choices for the client. So he is an absolute riot to work with, super, super smart, and I know you're going to love what he talks about today. He also started some other things. He started the Southern California Institute, which our members have access to at a discount. And it's a thought leader providing education, collaboration, think tanks, events, programs, a lot of online content that really can make a financial advisor, professional CPA, insurance agent a heck of a lot smarter and have provide tools for you that you otherwise would not have access to. And by the way, love the Southern California Institute. And I think, Shelley, you're the president of that, right?
Yeah. Shelley's the executive director of all three brands, including the Institute.
I have always referred to her as the president because when I need something.
That works for me.
I mean, you can refer to me however you'd like. Yes.
Goddess. Todd said goddess. If I refer to you as the goddess of the enterprise, it works out pretty good. Joe also started the Laureate Center for the Wealth Advisors, and insurance professional bankers, fiduciaries, they all learn how to attract, engage, and retain the perfect client. Unbelievable program of education. I think that's originally where Simon and Joe first met, through the Laureate program, if I remember correctly. And also the founders group on top of Strazzeri Manzini is practice, but the founders group is where Joe leads business owners through all phases of business transition, including clarity, net cash flows, optional value and market transitional choices. And that is part of what we asked you to talk about today, because that is coming up so often with the aging population. It's phenomenal to have you join us here today, both of you. Shelley, thanks so much for being here. And Joe, I will turn the controls over to you, sir. Hey, by the way, probably about, I don't know, maybe about 30 minutes in or whatever, I may just jump in real quick so we can give them a little bit more information on the center's upcoming event, if that'd be okay.
That'd be great.
Good deal. All right, control is yours.
Sure. Can you see our screen, sir?
Yes, we can. Perfectly.
Perfect. Thank you. Can I borrow that?
Yeah.
Cool. So I don't know where to put that. Can you hide that for me?
Yeah, I'm gonna hide this for you. Let's put this down here. Okay.
So we're going to be talking today about what's behind engaging prospective succession planning clients. In succession planning, the world talks about exit planning. And I am a proponent of the fact that most business owners don't enjoy the exit planning conversation. I don't know, they might consider it death. They might consider they're leaving. They might consider it a lot of other things. But Shelley and I may call it succession planning. And succession planning would include a transition to their family, a transition to their team, their executives or ESOP or something, or a transition to an outside party, typically succession or exit. But that might be in whole or in part. They might say, get me all out, or I want to leave some tips on the table, whether it's to my family, my team, or a third party.
Yep.
And it might be now or in the future. So we're going to call it succession planning versus exit planning. We're going to talk about how to land that 80% of the time. Within that, then, I'll go over that in just a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, these are our two bio slides. I don't know that we need to really.
Sure, and you were so kind as to explain us. Yes, I'll go over company brands in just a little bit. Yes, I'm a general contractor by trade who Ameren is to the law school. I built and sold 3 companies and still own the ones now. Shelley is not only a partner at Founders Group and a CEPA, Certified Exit Planning Advisor with the Exit Planning Institute. She's on the board at the SCSU Lab and Entrepreneurial Center, but she's the executive director for the Institute. Huge background in the financial services industry until we stole her to the dark side.
It's not so dark over here.
Always make sure that when you're listening to a presenter, like we talked about before, that you have a good sense. You have a good sense of what their bias is. In our case, we have the Institute that teaches over 200 programs a year in legal, financial, and tax technical, and in counseling. It used to be that was 2/3 live and 1/3 digital. Now it's all digital for the last year.
Just for a couple more months.
And then we go live again when?
We get to go do at least some part in September. We're gonna start doing some more live programs.
And I would say those programs are about 2/3 to advisors like all of us on the call,
yep,
and 1/3 to successful families and business owners. Like yesterday, there were 40 business owners on the call because UBS put them on and asked us to teach with them. That's a common answer too.
Yeah, most of the time when we're doing the client type facing events, it's by partnering with another professional that we have a relationship with who's asked us to help come present with them, so.
And then Strazzeri Mancini, the firm that started it all for us, helps successful families and business owners, A, get to the heart of highly relevant matters, which is counseling, and B, what we're best known for is resolving messes in 3 areas: integrated tax and estate planning, business succession planning, and then this family governance counseling or family business conflict.
My personal favorite.
And then we just put you together. And lastly, Founders Group. And Founders Group does what?
Just like what you were saying before, but Founders Group doesn't do legal, financial, tax, it does none of that. It just focuses on helping business owners with working on their business. So sometimes it's just good business planning, and sometimes they're ready to start planning for that transition or succession. And so taking them through a process to determine what are the things that are in the business that we can fix. So coming up with that punch list by doing evaluation and several different assessments, kind of a deep dive into the business, come up with the things in the business that are causing the most risk right now. So what are the things that we can fix that'll increase that value enough? And then, or not enough, but even more, whatever their goals are, and then help them decide what to do. So hopefully we get them in time, which is what, maybe a year,
Sure.
Or 2 or 3, hopefully, to be able to really make a difference.
So what you're seeing is our way of explaining, which we hope you have too, and you'll see that in today's presentation. We have a way to suggest that we help clients, but we partner with other advisors. In your practice, you have a way to explain what you do to help clients to engage them, but also how you partner with other advisors in order to increase your engagements. And it gives you our bias. I wish it was about our technical ability.
No, you don't. You like that? No, you don't.
Okay, a lot of my friends
It's
would.
not your favorite.
Yes, I'm a technician, but that's not what causes engagement. Being technically competent, either yourself or with your partners or collaborative partners, is your ticket into the game. But it isn't what gets you on the field. What gets you on the field is something different, and we're going to talk about that today. It's about clear language, talking about your process and how you're compelling in order to cause engagement through your culture. Now, wouldn't it be great if you could sit with the client and say, we've analyzed you, here are the tools, logically you should do this, and cause 80% engagement. The number of our friends that are technical wizards that are well known throughout the country, that their close rate is 20, 30%.
Yep.
They introduce clients to a wonderful concept. They're selling gold at $20 an ounce, and people aren't buying, and they wonder why. We'll cover that today.
And it's not just for exit planning or succession planning, right? This is across the board. So whatever your primary focus is in your business, this stuff applies for that as well.
So we'll end up talking about creating your stage, what your language is. We'll talk about culture and process, and then intake and partnering with other advisors and the clients to narrow down their decision, confirm, summarize, and have them say yes. The world that we used to have, where we went to a client and we said, you've got a complicated situation, I know the answer, you can't find it, hire me, it's over with.
Yeah.
Google solved that problem. If anything now, clients have too many answers and they need to decide what to do. We'll go over examples of 3 particular families, just to give you an idea at the end how these pieces helped. And we'll also give you a small hint at a design book, just some of the pages, to say, yes, you get to do that cool planning, but you only get to go do the cool planning and execute if they say yes.
If you help them with their thing, right?
Yeah,
whatever their hurt point is, that's the whole key. And having them trust you to do it.
It isn't about platitudes. It is what it is. Start with the end in mind. I make the complex simple. Clients, when they listen to an advisor, end up hearing common sayings, and they think in their mind, this person is not an expert in their field. So the traditional ways that we might have made people feel comfortable and have them say yes has changed.
Very much so. It's really about showing your process, showing that you have a way to do that, being able to deliver and explain what the value is that you offer, what your benefit is, and then a process and a way to get there. It's not, it's about being able to deliver that message with a quiet confidence, and that's what we're gonna really focus in on.
So sample language and tools. Now, either you should have tools like this,
Yep.
or partner with somebody that has tools like this to help a client say, oh, I get it. Not with platitudes, but with things that are specific to the industry, to their business, et cetera. This is what Founders Group uses and has other advisors that use often on a single sheet or part of a brochure or digitally to explain the process of transition. So a business owner comes up and they don't know it, but they're at what that's called the decision. Do I keep and grow my business, or do I transition it to my family, my employees, or a third party? And as I said, in whole or in part, now or in the future.
They always want to start there. What should I do? Well, we don't know yet.
Our answer would be whether you're going to keep and grow or transition, because good exit planning is great business planning. Whether you're going to keep and grow or transition, there's first two steps. Now, you all would know it from financial planning and legal planning and CPA planning as review and design, and then implementation, and then get to a decision.
Yep.
So in this, there's going to be this business attractiveness and business readiness questions you ask a client that are very quick, that have the client say, oh my God, I never thought about that. I'm not ready. Can you help me get ready? A personal and financial assessment. I don't know if my finances are set up so I can sell or retire. What am I spending? What are my personal use? How much do I need? How much will it pay?
And how's that integration going between the business and the personal, right?
And then once you get through that, you can do a true calculated business valuation, not a back of the napkin, recasted EBITDA times a fictitious multiple, but a true third-party valuation, which is how a bank would say, how much are we willing to lend? Or a buyer would say, how much less can I pay for this business? And the risks that are in there are things that you can enhance to cause a bigger price or to stabilize the business. And then you would talk through 90-day sprints to fix it, to then get to the decision, do you want to do this again, or do you want to transition? So let's go through. When somebody says, I might keep or sell, your answer might be, well, how about the 10 succession options? 10 succession options. We have a client right now that is liquidating the different parts of the business and is going to get roughly 2 times the amount that they would have for selling their business. But that sounds obscene. There are all sorts of other options, and it's just a matter of your client seeing that you know more than one option, whether it's this tool or this kind of a tool that says, what are the 5 transition goals? Client says, what do you mean? Well, you should want to increase profitability and cash flow. They say, yeah, that's the one. Well, you should also want to increase the value of the business in case you sell it or want to borrow on it.
Because it's actually very different, right?
Yep.
And most business owners, especially small business owners or family-owned businesses, have always run their business based off of income, right? It's all about the cash flow. And they've forgotten to really focus on the areas of the business that will help increase the value. And oddly enough, if you focus on that, it also increases cash flow, right?
Usually. So increase profitability and cash flow, increase enterprise value, then solidifying the choices of transition. How do I choose which one? And do I have to do it up front, or can I work into it? Aligning their personal and business goals, and then aligning the owner, the team, and their family. And an owner looks over and says, oh my God, these are the things I can do to get what I want. They've never been able to say it this way before.
And sometimes they come to us with one of those things that are listed underneath, let's say increase enterprise value. Sometimes you have to take the client how they come. So they might have an owie, they might have a hurt elbow that you need to help them with first, and then move them into the process. But in that bottom right corner, what you'll see is these are the things that Founders Group doesn't do. And do you have a way to describe what you do and how you partner with others is really the key to this slide. Because what we're saying is, hey, We don't do any of those things in the bottom right corner when we're working with a client in Founders Group. We partner with those professionals to do it with them.
So these slides are intended to show how do you increase your engagement? Do you have translation tools that your partners, your referral sources, your centers of influence can utilize to introduce you or introduce a concept? And do you have tools to explain to a client, here's the benefit you're looking for, and here's the process to get there? So we also talk about language like the 5 limitations. We have a book that talks about these are the things that we see that clients are stuck on. They just didn't know that. The lack of clarity about the true problem, the missing math, the clarity about the non-financial risks, how to make a regretless choice, and who's going to drive this if I say yes. Now let's just talk about one of them, the missing math. Client will come up and they'll say, Sheldon, let me understand. I'm taking X out of the business a year right now, plus Y in benefits every year for a total of Z.
Yeah.
So I've got my income and I've got my profit distributions for X. I've got these benefits, my club membership, my travel for
Let's
Y.
say it equals 50 grand a month.
Whatever that is, a Z. If I was to sell the business, I'm going to bring it to market. I'm going to be hitting due diligence, hitting quality of earnings, the cost of sale, then the friggin' taxes of a fifth to a third, and I'm going to get a bucket. I bring that bucket to the financial advisor, and they tell me I'm going to get a 4 to 8% return depending on risk.
And that, your advisor is.
And that return, that return is half of X, Joe.
Yeah.
Not even all of X, alone Y equals Z.
Plus, I don't have all those benefits.
So why not do
all
this?
those things? Yeah.
So that's the missing math, is how do you solve for it where the bucket creates at least X, if not more?
Right.
So how do we get from
And this is all, I mean, as you guys on the call know, this is all just a part of financial planning, right? This is backing into the number, and you know how to do this. But do you have the language or the way to explain it is what we're trying to get at here.
How long do we run till?
I think we have an hour, right, Brad and Todd? Yeah.
So if I go on, this is just another simple slide.
Yeah, you can now.
Here are the 5 stages of business. A very simple graphic for a business owner, an alpha or a leader in the company, a spouse of the business owner, a team member, or leadership to look at and say, I can see now. If it's less dependent on the owner, we're worth more. Oh, I've got an opportunity to grow it. My spouse might look at it and say, oh my gosh, I can have a life with them. We can build the business differently. So is it a star-based organization or is it a business?
This is about helping the owner get some more time and more money, right? They can be just as involved as they want to be.
So valuation types, remember this bottom one, the back of the napkin, is what most business owners are approached with. It does not help decide what to fix in the business. It is a fictitious multiple based on a subjective standard of the advisor or the client. A calculated valuation or a certified one tells them what areas they could specifically fix and how much more the business would be worth because of it, or stability for the kids.
Most clients can do just the calculated. Depends on the level of what they're looking to do. They might want to come back and do a certified later.
What you're now seeing, like Shelley was pointing out, is the 8 financial planning goals with the top 70% of legal, financial, and tax strategies. The top 70% of legal, financial, and tax strategies that are used with a client to get them to save their money, bigger number, less tax, more asset protection, etc. Now, some of these you'll notice are in more than one category, like these charitable instruments here that are also here, because they conquer more than one goal, excuse me. How does a client sift through with their collaborative team that you're running or you're part of, which ones of these to do? Or as Simon Singer was here would say, timing, combining, and sequencing. Timing of these things, when you put them in bed, combining which ones to do, and sequencing in what order. So here's one of my shout outs to Simon: timing, combining, and sequencing of these legal, financial, and tax strategies to get to the goal you're talking about. Now, most clients will have heard of one.
Yeah, I was gonna maybe talk about that for just a second. Is, a lot of times clients come to us from an advisor who said, you need a this, right? And they come to us saying, I need a this. And we have to say, okay, that might be perfect, but let's take a look at your situation. Let's get more intake. Let's get more information. And maybe it's a combination, or maybe it's something different that achieves that goal, but every client's different, right? So we never know if that's going to be the thing.
So at the end of it, partner with someone or create your own. Go to our website, go to other exit planner websites. Ask Shelley, she'll give you a variety of exit planning or business succession companies to look at. Look at the way they explain it and create your own way to explain it, just like we did through these.
All of these tools, pretty much, most of these tools are on that Founders Group website. So
either partner with somebody or different people, or create your own to help increase your closing percentage by having tools that speak to a client in their language, where they say, I need you, or I need my team, your team. Next, in culture and process, we describe who we are with this care to know language, and then we build our relationships gift by gift. We help clients see paths aligned, and our theory of collaboration is that we're ready for who, what we'll call a reader-driven mindset. You saw on the earlier when we described our 3 brands. When we sit in front of a client, instead of taking 45 minutes to an hour like you used to explain who we are.
Because we can be a little bit complicated.
Yeah. Now, how long does it take?
You usually say, can I steal 10 minutes of your life?
And it typically takes 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes on the first one on culture, 2.5 minutes on the other. And I've said 10 minutes, only 5, and we can move on. I will tell you, normally, we can't make it through the 4 or 5 minutes.
That's what I was gonna say. It takes 10 because they want to stop you and add to what you're saying and say, oh my gosh, that's what we do too, or that's what we think as well, or whatever it is. So you're getting that buy-in just by explaining what your culture is like and getting them to like you and want to work with you.
Because at the end of the day, a client and most advisors don't have a yardstick to be able to measure to Shelley to say, is she good at this? Is she an expert at this? They don't have a way to determine if Shelley should be the one because of her technical competency. But they can determine, does she exude a quiet confidence about her subject matter? And is she somebody I can trust?
Yeah.
Does she talk about her craft and her life as a way I can trust? Mm-hmm. Now, again, I wish it was about her technical ability, because Shelley has that in oodles, both on the culture and side of a business, how to run a business, business exit options, financial planning options. Not that she plays in the financial planning world anymore.
Not anymore.
But she has all that, but that's not why somebody wants to buy Shelley and have them help. It's about them putting a yardstick up and saying, I sense the quiet confidence, I sense her technical capability, and I can trust her to take care of, and the person at the other end of the table does too. So then next, we talked about things like this, a tool that you can use to be able to explain your culture, like it says on the bottom, and the process by which you use to get there. So Shelley often talks about, yeah, that's fine. No, I'm good. Mike just came in and showed me a sign to say, hey, can I help you? Because he knows we struggled in the very beginning. Experience versus a commodity. Does your client have a pleasant professional experience, or are they searching for the cheapest version of you? And if you want to sell the cheapest version of you, that's a business model that's fine with me, as long as you know that that's what it is. But if you want to be compensated or have them engage you versus someone else, it's probably about the experience that's there and the experience transference. We're in a room where we get to talk about charities and how these guitars came, because my partner sang with the Doobie Brothers and Casey and the Sunshine Band because of what we do at Children's Hospital. It's a way to communicate our charitable giving, but also the environment that we're sitting in.
Our guitars get a lot of attention.
They do. Do they sense what you believe in, and do you have a protocol of engaging? And what's the top one about there, Shelley?
you know, it goes back to what we were saying about the client that walks in with a strategy, with a thing that they think they need. And what we often are trying to do is move them outside that box, have them see both the advisor that they're working with and ourselves differently, to see that we're going to approach this in a different way. So while it might be strategies that we end up with, the focus is going to be on the benefit and the process, a way to get there. And so from a typical client's goals perspective, not focusing on how you're going to get paid, but focusing on the goals and the intake up front, to get to that last 10% of information, as we would say, to be able to then go through that process and then get to the product and strategy.
So what you're starting to see of what we're talking about is we'll get to legal, financial, and tax technical topics in a little bit. But that's not what causes your engagement. Your engagement, everybody has the same legal, financial, and tax technical opportunities that you do. Everybody has the same tools. How does the client decide to work with you? It's very easy to dismiss this and say, I know that, I'm good, I'm successful.
Oh, that's that soft skill stuff.
But of the most successful practitioners out there, they know that everybody has the same friggin' tools that they do, the same legal, financial, and tax strategies they do, but why are they engaging better? And that's what you might want to look at to be able to say, well, how could you refine your practice, the people that work with you and for you? So to cover a few more, intake and partnering. How do you get a client to say yes to what you're saying? Once you've presented your legal, financial, and tax strategy, how do you get them to say yes to what you're saying? And this is probably the most important slide of the group.
I was just thinking that, and these are step-by-step instructions. People always ask us, what do I do? This is what you do.
So you do intake to understand their perspective and ask them more questions than they ever want to tell you about. You satisfy their perspective to say, yep, this is what I've heard so far. These are your concerns. These are the things you'd like to explore. And these are other areas you've never thought of. Then it's the clarity of the who, what, when, where, why, and how stuff. Get them to commit to a plan, explain your process, what the timeline is, what's the first milestone, and have them say yes to the first milestone. This is literally the formula of getting a client to yes. So inside of your intaking and partnering, we've been talking about ask questions with the curiosity of a child, have a meeting agenda, make it chronological or another method. And that agenda is only a way in which your chronological way to walk through the meeting, a way in which to do intake and be able to bring out your tools and language where they say, oh, they get it. Oh, they understand me. Oh, they do this often. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
This is just one of those tools that we threw in here to share. And it seems so basic, and that's why we put it in here. Because a lot of people don't actually have a meeting protocol. And if it's just you, or if you have a team, this is super beneficial to review every once in a while to say, how should I go through what the meeting agenda is, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on Zoom, or whether it's in person. Use a formula or a way to go through a meeting. And even better, if you have a team, other attorneys, other team members who are meeting with clients, it gives them a way to do that.
So whether this is what we're talking about today, you feel could enhance you on your close rate, or can you get somebody in your organization to help them get better or as good as you? These are the factors and these are tools.
Or maybe it's other advisors that you collaborate with, that you can share a tool like this and say, can we do it this way if they don't have something? So it's just a way to get more information.
So most try to get them to commit to an exit. Don't try to get a client to commit to exiting their business. Get them committed
to scare them, right?
Scare the hell out of them. Give up your identity, give up where you go to work and who you are and how you make your money without knowing what it is.
Yeah.
It is far easier to get a client to agree to the first domino. No more, no less than if we were using the process we said before, that they agree to the first step of your process, the assessment. If they have an owie that they got to have fixed right away, tell them, like I have a race car driver that needs an overall plan because he customizes automobiles and makes a few $1 million a year customizing high-end automobiles. Getting him to fix everything because he's such a fast-moving guy, he doesn't want to sit down, never happened. Getting him to commit to the first step, in his case, a review, or in this case, an assessment, is easy to do, and then he knows there's other steps. Just getting them to commit to the first thing. So if you're doing exit planning, not commit to the whole exit, but commit to the first step. Do I keep and grow or do I transition? Let's do the assessment to see which one I want. A first step.
It really is. If I can jump in, it really is a collaborative approach, and I know you've always adopted that that kind of coaching and mentoring position to the business owner versus dictating. Here's what you have to do. Here's what you have to do now, and here's how it moves forward. So let me cut in if I can for just a second, and Todd, why don't you take control back? Speaking of coaching, because it seemed like a perfect time to bring it back in there, that is what we do. So just a quick, if you want to get better at what you do, obviously you need coaching and mentoring. All great athletes, politicians, business people have these people on their team. We have these people on our team, and you're talking to two of the best right now. Our faculty that we have, the group of folks that work with the center itself, it's an amazing group of the very best of the best and subject matter experts covering all aspects of financial services. Bruce Givner, who I know, Joe, you've collaborated with more than once.
Yeah.
Amazing tax attorney. Kevin Knebel, who is the #1 most sought after business speaker in the U.S., talks about how to do the world's biggest Rolodex, which is using LinkedIn. Obviously, Simon Singer, our founder, who's in the top 1/10 of 1% of all advisors in the U.S. Joe, who we're so fortunate to have you and Shelley on the team, especially in regards to anything to do with transition of the business, as well as the California Institute info. I won't go through all of them. I'll just hit a couple. Curtis Cloak, who's preeminent in expert in maximizing retirement cash flow. Jeff Dunham, who's the chairman and CEO of Dunham & Associates, talking about setting up proper asset allocation for your clients. David McKnight, who's the author of The Power of Zero, can show you how to maximize retirement income. Dr. Vicki Rackner, one of our favorite people, who's been with the organization since day one. She's a retired surgeon who can help you become better at working with doctor clients if that's what you want to develop. Dan Zeppelin, who has a very unique approach to senior settlement and how to set up an open platform to make sure that you're getting the most money for your clients should they need that. So our upcoming event is the Center's Virtual Academy, and it will be June 14th through 16th. Starts at 8 o'clock. We wrap up usually pretty close to 3 o'clock, and that is Pacific time. Members that attend this, members and guests that attend this will have access to the information because we record everything for you. End times and approximations, sometimes we run a couple minutes late. At the end of this program, I'm going to give you a discount code. In fact, well, here it is right now. The first 20, and I think we've got 4 that have already signed up during Joe and Shelley's program here. So the next 16 to register will save $75, and you don't even need a code for that, so it'll pop up for you. You can go to our website, www.yourctsr, and look up upcoming events tab for additional information. $645, and it, when you look at the number of hours that we have in that program, it's a heck of a deal. If you become a member or not, you will add a couple $100,000 to your practice income based on what you're able to pick up from the event. So look forward to seeing you there, and I will this point turn controls back over to you, Shelley and Joe. Thank you for letting me cut in there real quick. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Oh my gosh, yes. Great programming, by the way. Good friends that are on that program. Some of the people on there I've known for a few years, and some of the people we've known and worked with for decades.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Let me, oh, wait a minute.
Did you have fun?
I have the wrong presentation up. Okay. Where were we? We were, Right here, right?
Mhm.
All right. Okay, we're ready to roll.
So when you're helping a client narrow down, and again, we'll get to some legal, technical, or financial ones in a minute, but how do you get them to say yes to that? So I see two paths for you. From what I've seen, the best option is for you. Helping the client, whether they understand all these things you explained, help them narrow down to choose. So, and once they say, yes, you've got me, I think out of those two, I choose A. Great. Your next step is, the next steps are blank, blank, blank. We'll start with X. So your next steps are getting a medical, getting us information, whatever that is, and we'll start with X.
Yeah.
Explain the first easy step and have them agree to the first part, not the entire set that they're not too sure.
Because it's so
I'm not
big.
I'm not going
Right.
to buy the insurance. I'm not going to transfer all my assets. I'm not going to sell my business. I'm not going to sign all these documents. I want to know that I'm saying yes to the first exploration.
Yeah.
Get them, and then each time the same thing. Most people end up not confirming with their client what they said yes to. Because the client said yes and they say, don't talk past the close. And I agree not to talk past the close,
Absolutely.
but you should reaffirm what the client said yes to. We said yes to do this piece. We'll then again meet to talk about the rest.
Because it's all about the whole process, and we're not here to talk about our entire process today, but it's all about confirming expectations along the way, right? Both from our side and their side. So it's about managing the engagement and starting that right off the bat with, here are the expectations, here's where we are, here's what the next steps are.
Again, the slide that we said it was so darn important that you should review again. So examples.
Oh.
This is the design book. It's only a few pages. It's the one we used last time. It's the one we used last time. How do you get clients to say yes to this? Remember, they said yes just to a review first. Sure, you'll go over and you'll explain a net worth. You'll go over some assumptions. Yes, you'll end up having talk about their family information and what their goals are. Once you recap, then there'll be some sort of summary of concepts that you'll arrange in order to say, after we met before, you said yes to this. Here's a breakdown of what we said yes to, the pieces.
So we've moved into we've gone to the design, right? So we were at review, and once you get through that first step, you're at design. And this is an actual design book for a redacted client of ours.
So you'll see that they start to see, oh, they're pieces, they're numbered. Can I not do 4 and yes do 2? To help them start to narrow into options, whatever those are. And they'll say, well, what's the benefit for me doing that? The benefit here is the income tax savings. Do you want your family to get 14 million or 10? Do you want charity to also benefit? If it's an estate tax, if you die in 2020 or 2026, do you want your family to get 13 or 17 or 15 or 19? That's a very succinct benefit statement. Going back, it's a benefit statement to say, is it from these pieces? And as I change these pieces, does it change the benefit? Yes, you're still going to have these tools that you've had forever. And yes, you'll still need to prove up your numbers somehow of how you got there. Getting somebody to say yes to this complication all at once up front is not going to happen.
No.
Getting them to say yes first to a review of their stuff, and then go back, if I can go back to these, you're now looking and saying, oops, sorry. You're now saying, these are the steps and the pieces, which do we want to do or not do? that again drive to the benefits that we're talking about, the way that we got there, and then you can say the complication. And you can say that's in 2020 if you die, there's the net. Remember that 17 number? In 26, there's the 19 number. Because now a client is able to say, yes, I'm agreeing to pieces.
Right.
I agreed to the first review process. Now I'm agreeing to separate pieces. If I remove a piece, I'm removing a benefit.
Chunking it, right?
Mm-hmm. You're going to get to an 80 or 90% close, or what I might say when we get to partner with people, as long as we set it up right at the beginning, a 90+% close rate on people doing impactful planning, not base level, less than what you can really do for them or for yourself.
Or a plan that's not going to stick, right?
Once they end up saying yes to the complication, it's a matter of explaining again, it's because of the benefit. It hits your goals, either be tax or it be asset protection, whatever that is. And then the way you end to the summary to action, sorry, there was a delay in the computer. The summary to action at the end is this is what we agreed to as the next steps in order to accomplish that. Does that sound good or is this right? So here's an example of how you'd wrap that up together. That way you can get your legal, financial, tax answers, but you're solving for the goals that they set. They said yes to steps and then pieces of a step that have the goal, that this complication, remember its benefit, and now you're saying, here's how we get there. So we've talked about creating your stage and your language. We've talked about culture and process. We talked about how you intake and partner with your client and partner with your collaborative advisors. And we've given you an example of, yes, you can get to that, but how? Now that design book, that's only, I don't know, a third of all the pages, because each strategy builds the same thing. Every one of those boxes has a set of pages that say, for that box, here's the benefit, here's how we get there, here's the complication, here's the benefit again. In each section of those boxes. But yes, there's the overall.
But we didn't get to that client or to that stage without doing all these other things.
Being allowed to do our craft.
Right.
And that great stuff we do was not dependent upon how smart we were or the cool strategy we had or we had somebody else.
No.
It was about the ability for the client to sense that Shelley knew what she was doing. She had a quiet confidence. She had a way in which to have her meeting and explain her process overall. There was no more, no less than time for her to pull out her tools during the conversation.
And thinking about that particular case, was it easy for the advisors to have patience to let us go through our process?
Well, I will say in that particular case, it was a larger bank.
Yep.
Who had met with the client twice, came back and gave them a big end result.
Yep.
And said,
That's
do
what I'm
this.
thinking about. Yeah.
And the client freaked out.
The client was like, wait.
I don't want to do that. Now, mind you, the design was different, but I think the design could have been anything. The client wanted to be taken on a journey. Do you take them on a journey with you? So whether it's a tool as simple as this that you create, or you partner with somebody that has, or something that says, here are the pieces you need to go, it's about having a client say yes to the benefit that they're looking for, the process to get there, and then having tools to explain to them, we're good at this, we can. So whether it's, yes, legal, financial, and tax strategies connect to the goals, having them say, wow, there's a lot, and my one last plug for Simon that I love so much, timing, combining, and sequencing. Language like that are not platitudes, that are unique to your industry, that has a client say, that's why I shouldn't go with the last three people I talked to. Johnny, Sue, and Mary each talked about a singular thing. These people have that as one, and they're saying, how do we time, combine, and sequence all? That's for your practice.
Well,
whether you build that tool or you have it.
It's just so phenomenally impressive because, I mean, you're talking about a lot of people refer to their business the way they refer to their children, with the same passion. You know, they've spent their entire life putting this together, and then all of a sudden they're faced with decisions that they've never had to face before. And the way you walk them through the steps to get to the questions and just continue to add layers. Just, I can imagine, I've gone through enough of my clients going through transitional issues where they're scared to death, but they can't act like they are. So they'll listen to a lot of people, they'll nod and bob a lot, but then they don't move forward. I love your approach. It's so incredibly insightful to these folks at a very difficult time. What should be a great thing for them in their lives now is something that they fear. And
Yeah.
I will say, one of the things I love about the center, you guys combine so many different practitioners that are technically competent, but you also draw out of each practitioner to give to the audience not just their technical competency, their legal, financial, or tax strategy, but you also draw out what makes them successful in their craft, which is more than just that strategy, that thing, that illustration. So the center draws out not only the technical competencies, but why those professionals are successful. And you also screen that, do you want to collaborate with a serial diversion whispering up at the window what you should say? Or do you want to collaborate in the same room? Is it a back-end collaboration or same room collaboration? And you guys are open to it all. So that's what's so powerful about the center.
Wow, thank you so much for being part of it and being part of our faculty and for taking the time to join us. There was a bunch of questions, but we were actually able to handle them because a lot of them were related to be getting access to this information, the things that we talked about, and we've addressed that. So you held your audience wonderfully. Thank you so much for taking your very valuable time to be with us and be part of our faculty. Shelley, love having you with us, and we feel very fortunate to have you as part of our team. So thank you. I will wrap up, you guys, if you want to get on with your busy day. I'm just going to cover a couple of things with the audience here. And again, thank you so much for your time. We'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's talk about the 18 takeaways for the Academy. I'll do this in record time because you've been very patient hanging on. Talking about reducing your taxes and to create more clients, we think is probably the very best way to be able to bring new clients on or engage your existing. Hardwired tax plans prepared by experts, 3 ways to take over existing plans. For retirement plans, you can provide health benefits that are tax deductible, marketing plans with customized short video vignettes, lead systems that will tell you where every qualified plan is in your area and how it performs. Of the 18 takeaways, we cover so many things over that 3-day period. Digital content marketing done for you pre-populated is a very popular one through Jerry Minardi. Computer systems that tell you when to access and at what time to access your existing assets to do a snapshot and a money flow analysis for your clients, exit strategies for qualified plans, define benefit retirement plans that create guaranteed income, how to get doctors and dentists and other clients, strategic partnerships, how to work with CPAs and property casualty agencies, multiple ways to convert IRAs profit sharing, define benefits, potentially career-ending plans to stay away from. So we definitely talk about what you need to avoid and why. And SCI, Southern California Institute of Education and Presentation, which is what Joe and Shelley were talking about, and that's where those tools can be accessed for you independently and also through our membership at quite a big discount. So our virtual academy is June 14 through 16, 2021. Starts at 8 a.m. Pacific, ends at 3 o'clock. If you have an appointment, partway through that you just can't reschedule, just remember that by registering for the event, you will receive a taped copy of the presentation that you can replay, and that usually happens about 3 days after the event. If you want to find out more about us or more about the event or just any general questions, go ahead and either go on our website, www.yourctsr.com, and click on that upcoming events tab. It is $645 to attend. We still got a handful left to register at $75 off, so jump on our website. Or if you just want to find out a little bit more, go ahead and give us a call at 877-258-2837, or if you'd prefer, you can email us at thecenterteam@yourctsr.com. Hope you found some value in this today. We're very proud of the organization. We have a great group of members who have decided to invest in their own practice and getting a pretty nice ROI. If you want to find out how that could be available for you, please get in touch with us. And if not, pay attention to your emails. We've got a few more webinars coming up. Don't miss those. I hope you have a safe and healthy balance of your day and the balance of your week. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.